Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Custom Carving and Epoxy UK. Now you may remember in the last video, the cat's eye alcohol ink video with two-part epoxy, I got some really nice pieces, but I got some really bad blobbing, which I don't usually get in Petrie. So I'm just going to see if a little experiment is going to fix that, because my suspicion is that Let's Resin have possibly changed the recipe in this version 2 of the sinker. And that's why I'm getting blobbing, because it was the first time I've used it, and nearly every piece, as I say, I got that blobbing around the side on these edges, which I wasn't very happy about, because I think it detracted a little bit from the Petrie effect. So I'm going to try the same experiment, but I'm going to see if I can fix that problem. So those of you that watch the channel know that I use this Sinker White from Let's Resin, and I keep it in just this needle top bottle. Now what I'm going to try and do is just add a little bit more alcohol to it and see if by diluting it, it solves that blobbing problem. Because as I say, I was a little bit disappointed because I don't usually have any blobbing problems with my Petrie. So I'm just going to try and put literally a few drops more of isopropyl alcohol in there and see if that makes a difference. So I've got my little funnel that comes with your white sinker, putting it in there. And I'm just going to try and literally 99% isopropyl alcohol, put a little bit more in that bottle. Not too much, probably half of one of these funnels worth, because I still want it to have a Petrie effect. But I just want to see if by adding a touch more alcohol, there we go. So that is probably an extra, I don't know, 4 ml. Looking at that, looking at the where the bottle was. And I might have to play around with this a bit to get the mix right, but I've got a suspicion, and again, I could be wrong, so that's why I'm not putting too much into this yet, and I've just added some alcohol to that. No additional sinker, so I might have actually diluted it too much, but literally I had about 6 ml in this bottle, and I've just topped that up to the top with the alcohol, so it should be about 4 ml. And I hate these little plastic things. But you can see now it's virtually full, and all that pink pigment is still at the bottom. So I'm going to give it a good shake. Try and get all of that pigment off the bottom and thoroughly mixed with that new alcohol that we've put in, so that you don't see any on the base. That's what I'm looking for, and you can still see some there. So give it a really good shake for a few minutes, just to make sure it's all completely mixed, and I'm hoping this will solve the blobbing problem, but as I said, there's no guarantees in resin, and this is just a suspicion of mine. I'm going to use the cat's eye inks again as well, because I absolutely loved the effect of almost those cat's eyes just resting on the Petrie and adding a glisten effect. So again, this is the cat's eye alcohol ink, and again, you need to shake that before you use it as well. So if you've not seen the video on that, go back and watch it. I'm going to try and get another starfish as well, because I love the way that that looked. And this mould is from Resin, and it's one of their crystal moulds. And I think I'm going to be doing one of these every time, to be honest with you, because at the minute, it is my favourite mould. So that's that one. And if I do back these as well, I'm going to leave it the right amount of time this time. But I might not back them, you know. They don't always need backing. And I think sometimes that translucent effect you get from not backing them, that just lets that little bit more light through, is actually better than backing them. Unless you need a black backing. If you're using like chameleon powders or things like that, then by all means add a backing. So I'm just filling up my favourite cabochon moulds. I'm going to try and do pretty much the same as the last ones, but I'm not waiting any period of time or anything like that. It's just a case of however much time it takes me to fill these moulds. I've got to start making some of this into jewellery as well. I'm going to show you on the next video, but I've probably got well over 100 pieces now ready to turn into jewellery, and I just haven't got round to it because I'm enjoying creating so much and experimenting with the resin. But I'll get there, and then it'll all get updated in the Etsy shop as well. Again, going in with these hearts because these always come out really cool. And remember, you want to leave a tiny bit of space when you fill in your mould. Just because you're going to be putting those alcohol inks in. You're going to be putting that Petri white in. Sorry, the Sinker white. And you want to make sure that you've got enough room to do that. I always overfill these squares. And let me know, guys, if you're liking the content, let me know in the comments. If you want us to go and try something completely different as well, let me know. More than happy to listen to you and try it, because this channel is for you as a resin community as well as me. And I'm just really loving the experiments that we're doing at the minute and creating new effects. I think since I've been introduced to resin, I've never learned so much about a hobby as such, or a craft, in such a short space of time. But it literally takes over your life. If I'm not doing a resin project or demolding, I'm editing a video. So I hope, as I say, I just hope that you guys are enjoying it. Going to do a couple of rings with this one as well. So the rings I've found with the hardware I've got are just these tiny ones next to the hearts, and they're always a pain to fill because it's literally 2 or 3 drops. I've done a video on how I've done Petri rings in the past as well, so if that interests you, go back and have a look. What else can I fill? Let's go for these ones. Got actually more resin than I thought I had here, and I've overfilled that one slightly. So we might have quite a big demold tomorrow, which is good because it makes up for not having one today. Hopefully, if I get some good pieces. I wish I had a couple more of those starfish molds though, because I'd be making 3 or 4 of those at a time. Absolutely stunning mold. And again, if you've not seen these handmade molds from Resin, I highly recommend just have a look on the website, you know, see if there's any that take your fancy and try them, because since I've started using them, I want to build up my collection of those molds because I think they're so unique and so different. And I think we are about there. So that's all my big ones done. In fact, I might be able to just get these teardrops in as well. And I have got a new mold ordered as well, guys, a jewellery mold, because this one is getting a little bit dishevelled because it is very well used. I'm probably using it almost daily at the minute with different experiments. And it's starting to lose that shine, even though I always spray it with this silicone release spray. And I think I can just get one more drop in there, and then we'll be good to drop the inks. So again, exactly the same as that first experiment. I'm going to go in first of all with the cat's eye alcohol ink, just giving it a shake first. In fact, no, I'm not, because I haven't checked these for bubbles. Again, with these square ones, I just go around the edges just to make sure it's covered all the way. And this teardrop one as well, I don't use this very often, but I think that could make a cool pair of earrings. And as I say, I need to get more stuff in the shop. I haven't updated it for a couple of weeks, guys, so I am aware of that. But I've got an exciting announcement on the shop as well. So once I get a bit more uploaded, I'm going to give you guys a discount code as well to get 20% off if you watch the videos, because again, I really appreciate you guys watching the content as well and how it's all made. So there we go, just shaking up that cat's eye alcohol ink. Now, if you've not seen how to do it, look in the previous video, and I'm just going to put a few drops in each. I don't mind if it's a little bit heavy, because once I've got my alcohol inks in there, I don't think you'll be able to see it much. It's a bit like the glitter ink, and it allows you to get a few more layers of colour in there. Ooh, I went a bit heavy on that one. And try not to get the edges of your mould as well, because that's the risk of it pouring down the sides and sticking to your front. But touch wood, I've not had that issue yet. Probably happen in this video now I've said it. Good thing as well with this cat's eye alcohol ink, it reminds me which ones I've actually put resin into. So I think that is all of those pieces. Pretty happy with that. Maybe one or two more in there. And the good thing is you can actually see where it is as well, which with some of the glitter alcohol inks, I don't think you can see it very well. And I like this, and this just seemed to rest almost on the Petrie effect once it had been done, which was, I thought, a really cool effect. So again, no particular order, just going to get my Let's Resin inks out. And don't forget, guys, once you've put any kind of alcohol ink on your piece, you can't use a torch, you can't use a flame, because the problem is you put the alcohol in there and you could start a fire. So just going to go in a couple of drops of this red in the hearts, because every heart needs a little bit of red. And you can see it doesn't spread the same way that these alcohol inks normally do, and that's because I've put that glitter layer on, which is actually one of the things that I enjoy about this effect. It allows you, if you're careful, to get a few more colours in. So that's my red. I'm going to leave the yellow to the side. Always shake your alcohol inks as well. Got a purple here, which is quite a dark colour. And again, these tiny ones, you're never going to get more than one drop in, so just don't try and overdo it. Oops. But again, as you can see, I never have a particular plan when it comes to dropping my inks. I just go with the flow and what I think looks okay together. I'm deliberately leaving the starfish till last because I love the effect that I got last time with doing all those different blues. I have got the peach red here. Now, peach red for me is the worst one for muddying, but it's also one of my favourite colours to get in there. So I'm just being careful and trying to keep it away from those other colours, if I can, to prevent any muddying. But it does come out with a stunning bright, almost neon pink in your pieces. But as soon as it touches another colour, it seems to be the worst one in the whole set for me for muddying. Got some orange as well. Now, if you go with too many colours as well, guys, just to give you a bit of a heads up, that's when you tend to get darker pieces. When they sort of mix together too much, you tend to get quite a dark piece. And if that's what you want, brilliant. If it's not, then try and avoid putting too many in. Now, I'm one of these that likes to get almost as many colours in as I possibly can. And I don't mind that dark effect, because when you put your white sinker on, what you find is it lightens everything up anyway. So I just want a shade of blue, I think, in some of these. So cerulean. I'm going to try and keep these to one side as well, because I'm going to try and replicate what I did yesterday with that starfish and do the different shades of blue. Probably get a couple more drops in these. So I'm going to go in with a sapphire blue on that one. again, there's a bit of transparency there, so I can get one in there. Possibly risking it with that one. And then just at the edge of this teardrop. And then over here, I think I just want one more colour. What's this? Magenta. I've not gone with green actually on any of these. So let's have a little bit of green. And don't forget, when you add your white sinker, it's going to make those inks spread anyway. So even if you have got any transparent spots, don't worry about it, because you'll find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, isn't there? There's 5 legs in that. But I do like yellow as well. I've just realised I've not put any yellow in these. If it causes a bit of a muddying, so be it, but I do love this yellow. So I just want to get it in to a couple. And I think I'm happy that they're pretty much filled. Here we go. So for the starfish, I'm going to do the same, as pretty much the same as yesterday. I'm going to do a midnight blue in that leg. I'm going to do the other dark blue, which is the sapphire blue, in this leg. I'm going to go with cerulean in that leg. A turquoise in this leg. And then just the standard blue in that leg. And then again, I'm going to put one more drop of the cerulean in the center, just to sort of mix those inks up a little. There we go. So happy with that. Right, let's get these inks put away. Nothing worse than dropping one of your inks, not realizing that you've put the lid on, you haven't put the lid on, and it's splashing everywhere. Best tip for that is some, again, 99% alcohol. So there we go, and as you can see, this is now my sinker white, and it looks like there's more pigment in there, but there's not. I've not added any. All I've done is I've added more alcohol to it. So just going to give it another good shake. So I'm really hoping this works now, because I don't want that blobbing effect around the sides unless I actually want it to be there. So this will tell me, hopefully, whether that will work. And if it will, then I know for future experiments to just dilute it a little bit. So be interesting to see if this looks slightly different as well. So in we go with that sinker white. One, it does look different actually. A little bit more transparent. And I'm hoping I still get the Petri effect. I'm hoping I haven't diluted it too much. But we will find out. And then if that is the case, then it's always pretty simple. I can always add a little bit more of that sinker white to it. So again, no particular order. I'm just trying to make sure that it's all covered. And it has genuinely, this feels a lot more watered down than yesterday. So hopefully it will solve the problem. Again, I just want to make sure that I've got at least one drop in per colour and I'm covering that back. And again, I've got about halfway through now, so I'm just going to give it another shake to make sure that those pigments are mixed. And let me know in comments, guys, do you think that was my issue or do you think it's something else? We're going to find out on demold tomorrow. And I'm hoping this gives me a fainter Petri without that blobbing. at the sides, but it definitely feels a lot more watered down. But as I say, it's just a fun experiment. It either works or it doesn't. And I think that's all of them. Just going to put an extra drop in these darker pieces just to try and lighten them up. But there we go, happy with that. Just going to leave these for about half an hour. And then I'm going to come back and do the stir, but I'm liking the way that they're looking at the moment. But the biggest test here is whether that, by diluting that Sinker white a little bit more, A, whether I'm still going to get a Petri effect, and B, if it stops this blobbing on the sides. But we will find out together on demold tomorrow on that one. But I'll come back in about half an hour's time, check the resin and do the stir. So see you then. Hey guys, welcome back. It's been about half an hour and we should be about ready for the stir on these now. So again, just gonna pretty much do what I did yesterday, and with the legs of the starfish, being careful not to sort of touch that mold. I'm just going to go from side to side into that center, and always remember to wipe your stick between each wipe. And be very careful with this mold not to go deep, not to scratch your mold itself. So that is that. And then I really liked the swirl, so I'm going to do a little swirl just in that centre bit like that. And that's the starfish done. Right, where to start? I'll start with these small ones because there's not a lot I'm going to be able to do with them, apart from maybe a little bit of a standard swirl. That's those. And I can already see these are going to be quite dark, I think. But I don't mind that. I quite like the dark ones sometimes. And that's because of how many colours I put in there, you know. Be careful if you want the lighter effects in Petri, how many colours you put in, because that will pretty much determine how dark the piece is when they all mix together. Again, trying to be a little bit different on some of these swirls. And then I'm going to leave them and see if I'm going to get the Petri effect with the fact I've diluted it down so much, and B, whether it's going to be any different to what I normally get, and if it stops that blobbing. Again, when you're doing your swirls, you just want to be touching that surface of the resin. You don't want to be going deep. And I do think with the swirls, it just adds another dimension to your pieces. This one's definitely the one with that peach red. I can already see that. But again, just have fun with it, you know, it's art, and that's all you've got to do. Have fun with your designs, see what effects you can get. I know the expert at this is Daniel Cooper. If you watch some of his videos, he gets some really cool effects with his swirls, so make sure you check him out as well. But sometimes even just a standard swirl, you don't know what these are going to look like at all until you demold, which is part of the exciting thing, I think, with Petrie. You never know what results you're going to get until the next day. And some of these swirls will probably work really well, others not so good. And I'm deliberately not going in the center on all of these just to see what effect, if any, that has. This one I'm just going a little bit wispy. And always remember, don't touch your mold when you're doing this. Right, these hearts. I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to try and pull it in like that. And then do the same the other side if I can. Almost getting a sort of double swirl effect. I'm going to do the same. In fact, this one, no, I'm going to bring it all the way through and around. Now, I'm not happy with the amount, so I'm just going to do the same again. And it almost creates that, I don't know, to me it looks a bit like a claw. And I just want to bring this pink through a little bit more. But as I say, just keep playing with it until you're happy with it. And the main purpose of this is just to really see if that diluting that Sinker white from Let's Resin has given me a finer Petrie effect and stopped that blobbing at the sides. But we'll find out tomorrow. See you then. So here we go, guys. Time for demold and see if it was that Sinker white that was the issue, or whether it's something else that created all of this blobbing at the edges on these pieces last time. But we will see. Don't know, to be honest with you. Somebody has commented on that last video though. Maybe it is the fact that I've used this cat's eye alcohol ink that we've done that's actually broken the surface a little bit, which makes it easier for the white Sinker to pull through and blob, which it could be the case. And if that's the case, then I'm probably only going to be using this in UV resin going forward, because in UV resin we know it worked, we know it didn't have any sort of negative impact with blobbing and things like that. But again, it's an experiment, and that's what this is all about. So we will see, starting with the starfish. And again, I love this mold. Wow. Look at that. So not as much blobbing on the starfish. And this to me is like a storm in a pendant. Absolutely love it. And you can see the spores haven't stretched as far since we diluted it, but they still have got that cool effect in some of those legs. And then I've just almost got that, I don't know, it's like a storm in the center. But this is stunning. So if nothing else has worked, I'm really happy with this. And I could look at this again for hours, just looking at all those different spores in the legs. But they haven't gone as high and they haven't blobbed on the surface. So if you remember the one from yesterday's experiment, got a very different look. And I'm a lot happier with this one. Absolutely stunning piece. Now, I don't know if I'm going to make this into a pendant. I think I might try, you know, because I think that is absolutely stunning, and it's my best starfish yet. Gorgeous. Definitely one of my favourite molds to use at the minute, and I just love the way that those spores come through. And slightly longer than what we used to with the Petrie effect. So that is stunning. That's a success. Now for these cabochons, and let's see. I'm going to start off with these small tiny ones because these are potentially going to be rings. Oh, so we've still got blobbing on those at least, but again with these there isn't a lot of space because of the fact that they're such small molds. So that one's okay, I like that one. That one not so much. So that's the two small ones. Let's go to the squares. And I didn't put a backing on these. Again, we've got a bit of blob in there. Not as much, I don't think, as yesterday. And the Petrie's come out really nice on it. So yeah, that's a nice piece. Again, I love that ribboning effect in there in the swirl. But we've still got a bit of that blobbing. Now I know these are a bit shallower than some of the others, so I'm still hopeful that we won't get the blobbing in all of them. But we will see. Let's have a look at these two. Wow. Again, I love the colours on that, but we've still got a bit of that blobbing. So maybe it wasn't the white sinker's fault. Maybe it was the fact... Look at that glare on the back on that one. Stunning. That I've used this cat's eye alcohol ink, and if that's the case, I think maybe I'm better keeping that with UV resin and coming up with some different technique for the cat's eye powder for 2-part, because again it does seem to be creating a bit more blobbing, which is great if that's the effect you're going for. For me, I don't know, I think it takes away from the Petrie effect, too much of this blobbing on the side. So let's go to these little hearts. Again, you can see that sparkle added from the cat's eye, and it just seems to settle on the Petrie, which I do like, but I'm not convinced with this blobbing look around the side. Let me know what you think in comments, guys. Do you like it or not? Because I'm not sure, and I don't know whether to turn these pieces into jewellery or not, because I don't know if you like the look. I mean, on these, look, that is too much for me, and it's a shame. It's definitely a different effect. So if you're used to my standard Petrie videos, this looks very different. And that one almost had a little bit of muddying in there as well. But again, look at the sparkle I'm getting from the cat's eye. So I do like that element, but I don't know about this excessive blobbing at the side. But again, let me know your input, guys. Do you like it or not? Now that, for me, is stunning. Look at that. Even with that blobbing, I don't mind that on this one because it doesn't come up too far. And you can see all of those different sparkles coming from the cat's eye effect, just resting on that Petrie. Almost looks holographic in some ways, in some lights, this one. Absolutely gorgeous, that one. So that's probably my favourite so far, so I'm going to keep that to one side. And again, this one, a little bit too much of the blobbing for me. And you can see where those spores really try and extend. But that's that one. And let's go to these hearts. Wow. Again, it almost creates a different effect, I think. And look at that. Just almost holographic on the back. Using this cat's eye alcohol ink. And again, I haven't got too much of the blobbing on this one. Or the sporing, so I quite like that piece. Wow, now that is really nice, absolutely stunning. And that's where I put the swirl in there and there, and I think that's come out really well. So I do like that. A little bit of muddying there, I think that's that peach red again. But yeah, I do like that one. Let's go to these little ovals. And again, got that excessive blobbing, got the Petrie in there. But for me, I don't know. I don't know if I like this new blobbing look. And that one looks stunning, just the way that that swirls in there. Gives you great depth with that sort of ribboning. So, and again, a little bit of a piece to take off there. But again, you can see the sparkle on all of them, which is what I wanted, but wow. And look at the center of that one. And the glistening from those cat's eyes. So I don't know, I don't dislike them, but I'm not convinced of how they'll look as jewellery. Again, got a bit of muddying there from that peach red. Got to stop using it in Petrie, or just use it on its own. But I do like it when it works. Again, this look at that. It's like there is a whole new universe in there, but you've got to look past the blobbing at the sides to see it. So, I don't know, let me know in comments, guys. Would you buy a piece of jewellery with this effect or not? I'm not convinced. It is different, which is what I'm always looking for. I always say I'm looking for something different. But it's whether it's worked enough. Now let's have a look at these big ovals. Wow. And again, I love that sparkle. Again, I've got some muddying there thanks to the peach red. And those spores have really extended in certain areas. But let me know in comments, what's your favourite piece? Would you buy a piece of jewellery with this effect? Now this one hasn't blobbed as much. And that one actually I really like. The different ribboning. And you can still get the odd spore. There's just that one there that's managed to surface. But I do like it on some of them. This I don't think is too bad. This one's probably one of my favourites. So this one, I say I quite like. But these ones where it's gone excessive for me, I think there's too much. But as I say, let me know in comments, guys. So for me, my favourites probably are this big oval that we've just looked at. Just mainly because of that effect. It looks stunning. And that sparkle. And this heart. Again, I think it's absolutely stunning on some of them, but majority of those I don't particularly like myself, and what I'm trying to sort of find out is, do you guys like it? Because if you do, I'm still going to make them into jewellery. If you don't, then I'm going to find something else to do with them. So I hope you've liked the content. Sorry it's been a bit of a long unmoulding process to get these results, but I hope you've enjoyed the content. If you have, as always, like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you to all of you that have, and thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one.